Welcome to the Sleepless Pigeon Scientist. Tonight, we're going to explore something that might fundamentally change how you think about life itself. Something so profoundly impossible, so quietly miraculous, that it might just keep you awake long after this video ends, wondering what other impossible creatures might be lurking in the corners of our universe. And if it does, well, perhaps you'll find some comfort knowing that this tiny organism has been surviving the impossible for over 500 million years. Before we venture into this particular corner of biological impossibility, I'd like to gently ask for your support. If these late-night explorations into nature's strangest secrets intrigue you, please consider giving this video a like and subscribing. It helps other restless minds discover these extraordinary creatures, and it means everything to me. I'm also curious, where are you listening from tonight? Maybe you're in a quiet bedroom in suburban Canada, or perhaps you're walking through the empty corridors of a research facility at 2 a.m. Wherever you are, I'd love to know your location and what time it is as you contemplate the possibility of life beyond our fragile planet. Leave a comment below, especially if you're listening at an unusual hour. You're definitely not alone in your wonder. Tonight's journey is about the tardigrade, water bears, as they're sometimes called, and we'll be drifting through one of the most astonishing discoveries in biology, the existence of a creature so indestructible that it can survive the vacuum of space, temperatures that would instantly kill any other known life form, and radiation levels that would destroy human DNA in seconds. We'll explore how these microscopic animals have redefined our understanding of life's limits, how they've survived every mass extinction event in Earth's history, and why their existence might be the key to understanding life throughout the universe. We'll examine the shocking mechanisms that make them virtually indestructible, and why their discovery has forced scientists to completely rethink what it means to be alive. From their alien-like ability to essentially die and resurrect themselves, to their potential role in seeding life across the cosmos, we'll be examining creatures that seem more like science fiction than biological reality. But don't worry, we won't be diving too deep into the complex biochemistry of their survival mechanisms. Just deep enough to make you question everything you thought you knew about the limits of life, the possibilities of existence beyond Earth, and the extraordinary tenacity of biology itself. And if somewhere along the way your thoughts begin to feel heavy and your grip on conventional reality starts to loosen, then you're in exactly the right place. Please remember, everything in this video is for educational and entertainment purposes only. This is biological science and astrobiology, not medical or psychological advice. Always consult qualified professionals for any concerns about your mental health. Now, settle in comfortably. Take a slow, deep breath. And let's begin. The discovery, when biology becomes science fiction. Imagine, for a moment, that you're floating in the vacuum of space. No atmosphere, no protection, temperatures swinging between -270 degrees Celsius and 120 degrees Celsius. Cosmic radiation bombarding your body with the force of 1,000 nuclear explosions. In this environment, your blood would boil, your lungs would explode, and your cells would be destroyed in seconds. This is instant death for any complex life form. But not for tardigrades. These microscopic creatures, barely visible to the naked eye, have been launched into space, exposed to the full vacuum and radiation of the cosmos, and then brought back to Earth. And here's what makes this discovery so profoundly unsettling. They not only survived, they thrived. Some even reproduced successfully after their return from space. The first time scientists conducted this experiment, they couldn't believe the results. In 2007, the European Space Agency sent thousands of tardigrades aboard the Photon M3 mission, exposing them to the lethal combination of space vacuum and solar radiation for 10 days. The expectation was that they would all die, perhaps providing insight into how life might theoretically survive in space. Instead, many survived. Not just survived, they were completely unharmed. Some even laid eggs that developed normally after returning to Earth. The scientists had to run the experiment multiple times to convince themselves that this wasn't some kind of error. Think about what this means. We've discovered a creature that can survive in an environment that would kill every other known life form almost instantly. A creature that treats the vacuum of space like a minor inconvenience. But this is just the beginning of their impossible abilities. The mechanisms, how life learned to cheat death. To understand how tardigrades achieve the impossible, we need to examine their most extraordinary ability, cryptobiosis. This is a state so alien to our understanding of life that it might be more accurate to call it death with an asterisk. When conditions become hostile, whether it's dehydration, extreme temperature, radiation, or the vacuum of space, tardigrades don't simply endure. They essentially die. But not permanently. They enter a state called the ton state, where they lose up to 99% of their water content. Their metabolism drops to 0.01% of normal levels, and they form a barrel-shaped protective shell around themselves. In this state, they are, by almost every definition, dead. No heartbeat, no brain activity, no metabolism. They can remain in this state for decades, possibly centuries. But here's where biology becomes indistinguishable from magic. When conditions improve, they simply wake up. They rehydrate, their metabolism restarts, and they continue their lives as if nothing happened. This isn't healing or recovery, this is resurrection. They're literally bringing themselves back from the dead. But the cryptobiosis is just one of their impossible abilities. Tardigrades can also survive temperatures as low as -272 degrees Celsius, just 1 degree above absolute zero, the theoretical coldest temperature possible in the universe. They can survive temperatures as high as 150 degrees Celsius. They can withstand pressure 6 times greater than the deepest ocean trenches. They can survive radiation doses 1,000 times higher than what would kill a human. To put this in perspective, you could expose a tardigrade to radiation equivalent to standing next to the Chernobyl reactor core for hours, and it would simply shrug it off. The implications: redefining life itself. The existence of tardigrades forces us to completely reconsider what life is capable of. For centuries, we've thought of life as fragile, dependent on narrow ranges of temperature, pressure, and chemical conditions. We've assumed that life could only exist in the Goldilocks zone, around stars, not too hot, not too cold, just right. But tardigrades suggest that life might be far more tenacious than we ever imagined. If a microscopic animal can survive in space, what does that say about the possibility of life throughout the universe? Consider this: tardigrades have been found in some of the most extreme environments on Earth. The bottom of the ocean, the peaks of the Himalayas, the Antarctic ice, volcanic hot springs, and radioactive waste sites. They've been thriving in these impossible places for over 500 million years. This means they've survived every mass extinction event in Earth's history. The asteroid that killed the dinosaurs? Tardigrades barely noticed. The volcanic eruptions that triggered the Permian extinction, killing 96% of all species? Tardigrades just went into their ton state and waited it out. They are, quite literally, the ultimate survivors. But here's what keeps me awake at night: if tardigrades can survive in space, could they survive a journey between planets? Could they survive a journey between star systems? Could they be the mechanism by which life spreads throughout the universe? The panspermia hypothesis, life's cosmic journey. The idea that life might spread from planet to planet, or even from star system to star system, is called panspermia. For decades, it was considered fringe science, too speculative to take seriously. But the discovery of tardigrades' space survival abilities has forced scientists to reconsider. Think about it: if tardigrades can survive in space, and if they can remain in cryptobiosis for potentially centuries, then they could theoretically survive the journey between planets. A meteorite impact on Earth could launch tardigrades into space, where they could drift for thousands of years before landing on another planet. If conditions on that planet were suitable, they could wake up, rehydrate, and begin reproducing. They could literally seed life throughout the galaxy. This isn't just speculation. We know that rocks from Mars have reached Earth through meteorite impacts. We know that the early solar system was a chaotic place, with massive impacts regularly launching material between planets. And we now know that tardigrades can survive the journey. The implications are staggering. It's possible that life on Earth didn't originate here at all. It's possible that tardigrades, or organisms like them, carried life to Earth from another planet. It's possible that right now, tardigrades are drifting through space, carrying the seeds of life to distant worlds. The alien among us, what makes them so different? But perhaps the most unsettling aspect of tardigrades is how alien they seem, even though they're right here on Earth. Under a microscope, they look like something from another planet: 8 legs, a pig-like snout, and a shambling gait that gives them their nickname, water bears. Their DNA is unlike anything else on Earth. About 15% of their genetic material appears to have come from other organisms, bacteria, plants, fungi, and other sources. This is called horizontal gene transfer, and it's extremely rare in complex organisms. It's as if tardigrades have been collecting genetic tools from other life forms for millions of years, adding to their survival toolkit. They have unique proteins that can repair DNA damage that would be lethal to other organisms. They can replace their entire water content with special sugars that preserve their cellular structure during dehydration. They can essentially pause their biological processes and restart them at will. In many ways, they're more like biological machines than living creatures. They're optimized for survival in ways that seem almost engineered. The philosophical weight: what does this mean for us? The existence of tardigrades forces us to confront some profound questions about life, death, and our place in the universe. If life can be this tenacious, this adaptable, this impossible to destroy, what does that say about the possibility of life elsewhere? We've spent decades searching for signs of life on other planets, assuming that life would be as fragile and limited as we are. But tardigrades suggest that life might be far more common, far more resilient, and far more widespread than we ever imagined. They also force us to reconsider our own mortality. While we can't enter cryptobiosis like tardigrades, their existence suggests that the boundaries between life and death might be more fluid than we think. They remind us that life is not just about surviving, it's about persisting, adapting, and finding ways to continue even when conditions become impossible. The ongoing mystery: what we still don't know. Despite decades of research, tardigrades still hold many secrets. We don't fully understand how their cryptobiosis works at the molecular level. We don't know exactly how they repair DNA damage that would kill other organisms. We don't know how they coordinate their resurrection from the tun state. Most intriguingly, we don't know if they're truly unique, or if there are other organisms out there with similar capabilities. Are tardigrades the only creatures that can survive in space, or are they just the first ones we've discovered? Recent research has suggested that there might be other, extremophile, organisms with similar capabilities. Some bacteria can survive in space for extended periods. Some fungi can survive lethal doses of radiation. Some plants can survive complete dehydration. It's possible that tardigrades are not anomalies. They might be examples of a much broader category of life that we're only beginning to understand. The comfort in the impossible: why we explore these mysteries. As we drift toward the end of our exploration, you might be wondering why we delve into such extraordinary possibilities. Perhaps it's because these extreme examples of life help us appreciate the mystery of existence itself. Whether or not tardigrades are seeding life throughout the universe, their existence reminds us that life is far more remarkable, far more tenacious, and far more creative than we ever imagined. The discovery of tardigrades has expanded our understanding of what's possible. They've shown us that life can exist in conditions we thought were impossible, that death might not be as final as we believed, and that the universe might be far more alive than we ever dared to hope. These revelations don't have easy answers, and perhaps that's the point. The mystery itself is part of what makes life so extraordinary. Whether you're a fragile human or an indestructible tardigrade, you're still part of the same remarkable phenomenon we call existence. Closing: the eternal survivors. So, as you prepare to close your eyes tonight, remember this: right now, as you listen to these words, there are tardigrades all around you. In the soil beneath your feet, in the moss on nearby trees, in the water you drink. They've been here for 500 million years, and they'll likely be here long after we're gone. And if humanity ever does spread to other planets, if we ever do become a spacefaring species, we probably won't be traveling alone. The tardigrades will be there too, as they always have been, quietly surviving the impossible, carrying the torch of life to whatever corner of the universe we might reach. They remind us that life is not just resilient, it's unstoppable. And that's both humbling and deeply comforting. Sweet dreams, fellow travelers. And remember, in a universe full of tardigrades, life finds a way to persist against all odds. Thank you for joining me on this journey into the impossible world of nature's most indestructible life form. If you enjoyed this exploration, please like and subscribe for more late-night contemplations of the universe's most extraordinary creatures. And don't forget to share where you're listening from. I love knowing that these ideas are traveling across the globe, reaching minds in every time zone, just like the tardigrades themselves. Until next time, keep questioning, keep wondering, and keep exploring the beautiful mysteries that surround us.